What are some challenges to develop conceptual understanding in mathematics through remote teaching? Let us think about some learning theories we already know in helping students develop conceptual understanding. Polya suggests that we use one problem. It is better for students to solve one problem in 5 ways than to solve 5 different problems. That is also consistent with Piaget's theory of giving students ample processing time. I think that can be done whether students are in class or at home doing mathematics. Zoltan Deans recommend exploration before structured learning. Can that be done through remote teaching? I think so. Students can be given a task to explore before you meet them online, perhaps through Zoom or any other platforms that you might use. Zoltan Deans also recommend we provide practice. Of course, that can be done wherever the students are. What about Vygotsky that suggests that interaction is critical in conceptual understanding? I suspect that is a little bit harder to do when students are learning remotely. It's so much easier and more organic for students to interact when they are in a classroom. And then Brunner suggests concrete experiences in the initial stages before moving on to pictorial representation in order to learn abstract concepts. That might pose a little bit of a challenge if students do not have the necessary concrete materials, but it can be overcome by recommending simple concrete materials like counters, Lego blocks, pieces of paper, nothing that you cannot find in a typical home. Finally, Scam's theory suggests that students always have the conceptual underpinnings of whatever procedures that they are learning. That shouldn't pose a problem whether learning is happening in class or remotely. Even if they're in school, if the teachers are teaching merely the procedures, it's not going to help. So it seems like the biggest challenge is not in the individual parts, other than Vygotsky, but given that students are quite good in interacting through social media, through technology, I suppose they might find a way of interacting with their friends, even though they're not meeting face to face. So you can see that the biggest challenge are really not the pieces, but in orchestrating all of them to bring about conceptual understanding. So the biggest challenge in making sure conceptual understanding still happen during remote teaching is that you really need the students in front of you for you to know what to do when, in order to bring everything together to orchestrate the processes of learning to result in the deep conceptual learning that we so desire. In the last few months in doing remote teaching, many of us have learned this and that. What are some changes that may happen to our classrooms as a result of those takeaways? Some of us may realize that there is a significant portion of learning that should be independent, done away from the eyes of a teacher. For example, in mathematics, during exploration, you do not want the teachers to be hovering around over scaffold. You really want students to have the space and time to do that. Also, for older students, things that are informational, they are best recorded in a video and let the students watch the video in their own time, at their own pace, as many times as they so wish. Some of us may have that as a takeaway, that there are quite a lot of our job as a teacher that can be done, in fact better done, by technology. And when we let technology do some of those things that technology can do that free up our time to focus on things that only a human teacher can do. And to me, that is orchestrating the learning process. What's a common misconception about remote teaching? Just like classroom teaching is not either all human teacher versus technology, similarly, in remote teaching is not technology versus human teacher. There are parts of remote teaching that requires technology, in fact enhanced by technology. And then there are parts of remote teaching that's best done by the human teacher. I have another video to elaborate on this point. Hope to see you in a future professional development somewhere in the world.